Kia ora, ko fusmataho. Ngā mihi ki te whare, welcome to the House. Parliament's select committees are full of fascinating stories, but are often beaten for attention by the debating chamber. And that's understandable, but it's unfortunate because the work committees do is crucial if you want to avoid bad law. Bad law is not law you happen to disagree with. It's law that's poorly thought out, poorly drafted, or riddled with unintended consequences.
The timeframes have just been impossible to put in a reasonable bill. It is riddled with errors.
Many of those flaws are found and fixed in Select Committee, and many are identified by members of the public who know what really happens on the ground, because you can't beat local knowledge. The Justice Committee is currently hearing submissions on the Arms Bill, a rewrite of the law over the ownership and use of firearms. Many of the submitters are representing hunting groups or gun collectors or are just gun owners. People with specific expertise and experience, like Zach Dudunsky.
To build that knowledge and share that knowledge, it's important to be able to have freedom of movement from items from our home to meeting venues, to shows, to opportunities for sale.
Watching submissions, I thought it was maybe worthwhile offering a few tips about what works, about how to make a submission more effective. First, if you can, be in the room. There is nothing quite as effective as eyeing the people you are talking to, and nothing harder to concentrate on than hours of poor quality video. Presence is powerful. Case in point, Abdur Razak, President of the Federation of Islamic Associations of New Zealand.
The firearms law, which we are discussing, has been predicated by the grief, the tangible grief, the lasting grief, the memory, and the legacy of the 51 Shahada.
While it's a decent idea to practice, don't just practice what you want to say. Consider what kind of questions will arise in response and how to answer them. If you can engage the MPs in a to and fro, you're more likely to engage their thinking and how to solve the issues you are raising. You want to have time to say this.
So I submit those are the main points in regards to our submission, and open up for questions.
And not hear this.
We're going to start.
Okay.
I'm disappointed because I really wanted to ask you about what you wanted around non-pistol, but you've used your time.
You can read. Sometimes detail requires accuracy, and it can stop you from rambling, but notes and telling is better. Either way, try and leave as much as half your allotted time for that discussion. And for goodness sake, don't read your written submission. You can presume the MPs have already read it. They want to hear the main points and then get into your personal insights. This is a chance to tweak and improve a law, so bring concrete issues and possible solutions. Here, for example, are two issues raised by Fish and Game New Zealand's Richie Cosgrove.
In relation to registration of agency firearms, this bill requires organisationally owned firearms held by agencies like Fish and Game, government departments and councils for pest control to be registered to individual employees. However, firearms are used by multiple staff and the named employee actually has no real oversight over a work tool. Staff are understandably reluctant to register work firearms in their own name. We submit that agency-owned firearms should be registerable to the organisation with a record of authorised users, providing greater clarity and accountability.
Issue, context, solution.
The bill retains the offence of being in control of a firearm while incapacitated by alcohol and drugs, but the threshold is entirely subjective, making enforcement incredibly difficult. We submit that defined blood alcohol levels should also apply, as it does for vehicle drivers. Both provisions can coexist, but a numerical threshold gives enforcement officers an objective, practical tool.
Context, issue, solution, argument. Neat and quite compelling. I chose quick clips to save time. You don't need to be quite that efficient. It depends on just how many issues you intend to raise. Fish and Game left plenty of time for discussion, and so they got to chat through the practicalities and guide MPs thinking further. As you might expect from Fish and Game, they got MPs hooked with something intriguing, and then they reeled them in a to and fro. The Justice Committee is continuing to hear submissions, and they're due to report back in June. You've been listening to The House. E te whakaronga koe ki te whare. This program is produced with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Mā te wā.